Hi guys, this is going to be a really chill video, but I'm going to go through my top 10 best books of the year and my top 10 worst books of the year. Because I'm not doing that many videos a week, I thought that I'm going to combine this so that I have a video that kind of goes through all of my best and worst from 2023. So strap in. I will also say I don't have any of these books to hand, so I'm going to be editing them into the video because I can't be bothered to go and have a look for them. I've got a bit of a migraine, so I don't really want to force myself to do something. So you're getting a very chill video today. I do apologise. If I've got time or I've got the energy, which I probably won't through the week, I'll redo it. But for now, you're getting a very chill video. So we're going to start with good, and then we're going to go into the bad. So my top 10 books, this is in no particular order. I just have a list of books that I really enjoyed, and I'm going to kind of go through it, go through a little bit of why I did like them, what I thought stood out about them, things like that. So there is one. I'm going to start with this one because this is my top book of the year, because this just blew my mind, and that is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kailyn Bayron. I loved this book. This book had everything that I wanted in a book, and I adored it. It was incredible. It was horror, but it wasn't too horror. It had me continuously like going for it. I loved this book so much. I don't want to tell you anything because I don't want to spoil anything, but this was my favorite book of the year. And yeah, I really appreciated how Kailyn Bayron wrote it. I got to meet Kailyn Bayron and explain that it was my favorite book, and she was incredibly nice. We had a conversation about how, isn't it weird how we have comfort horror films, and I said that hers felt like a comfort horror film. So yeah, I absolutely adored it, and it was really nice to talk to her about it. The next book I'm going to talk about was a surprise one. This one was one I read between Christmas and New Year, and this is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. So this book I picked up before Christmas to read at Christmas, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be fun. It's vampires meets Hunger Games. That sounds interesting. And I adored this book. Like, I remember gasping at this book. Like, I'm so excited. I found out that the sequel's on Kindle Unlimited, so you bet that I'm reading that book. Like, oh my god, I'm reading that book straight away. I'm so excited. It was, I can't even describe this book. I think that it's been talked about a lot, but I really enjoyed it. It was enough. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't anything like crazy. It wasn't anything amazing. Like, I know the writing was good, but it wasn't like the best writing in the world. But there was something about this book that I just absolutely 100% loved. Like, it got me through this book so quickly, and I just absolutely adored it. The next book I want to talk about is The Society for Soulless Girls by Laura Stephen. I've said this multiple times. I really enjoy Laura Stephen as an author. I have read a lot of her contemporary novels, and I did not know what was going to happen with this one. But this was a very gothic, fantastical world. It had a lot of feminist undertones, which Laura Stephen is fantastic in. Like, she's so good at writing like the feminist undertones. I really enjoy how she does it. Everything about this book was incredible. I really enjoyed it. The next one is going to make my girlfriend happy. So the one I'm going to talk about is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I think this is potentially my favourite Ali Hazelwood that I've read. I know it's not everyone's favourite, but there is something about this one that I feel like I relate to the character a little bit, of like feeling like you have to present someone to like be appreciated by people. And it was really nice to get like to see those walls be stripped down in someone, and to know that it can be. I really enjoyed it. Ali Hazelwood always hits with the books that she writes. I'm not gonna lie, like I will read an Ali Hazelwood no matter what. My next book that I want to talk about is Hang the Moon by Alexandria Bellafleur. This was a read with Becca. We had read the first one. We decided we wanted to continue with the series, and I really enjoyed Written in the Stars, and I did not know what I was going to think with Hang the Moon because it is a straight romance, whereas the first one is a sapphic romance. But the characters are so well done in Hang the Moon, and I just absolutely adored them, that I just feel as if everything about this book was just so well done, and it was so beautifully done, and I just really loved everything about them. And yeah, it was really interesting to kind of see the characters and realise just what you wanted to see from them. And I don't even know how to describe it, but the more I read from Alexandria Boyle, the more I'm like, cool, I will read most of the things that you sell, which is good because I have the third and final book that I need to read, and I have the Fiancé Farce, which I'm very excited to get to. I think that's going to be really, really good. My next one is Queen Takes Rose by Katie Robert. This was one that I read in my 12 books of Advent, and I really enjoyed this book. This book was just like, listen, Katie Robert hits with most of her Wicked Villains books. They are incredible, and I know that, but Queen Takes Rose had something that I didn't know I needed, and I didn't know I wanted, and it was so good. I love a bit of a spicy romance, and yeah, really, really good. My next book is going to make Andy very happy. I really, really enjoyed The Martian by Andy Weir. I feel as if The Martian is very much a book that I did not think I was going to love, and Becca put it onto a list of books I should read. So I kind of went, okay, cool, I'm going to read them. And The Martian came up on my library app, and I downloaded the audiobook, and it was Will Wheaton. And I love Will Wheaton as a narrator. I think he's a phenomenal narrator. And I think his narration added to the book so much because, like, you could feel like the humour was just on point, and I feel like the deliverance of the lines from Will Wheaton really helped with that. My next one isn't a single book, it is a graphic novel series, and this is the Die graphic novels. I don't remember exactly who wrote these, but I think it was Kieran Gillen, I think. But this is a very me graphic novel series to read. It is about a bunch of people who get sucked into a tabletop role-playing game, and they live in the world, and then they come back. They'd gone missing as children, and years down the line they have to go back to the world, and it's them going back to the world and the repercussions and everything like that. What I really, really enjoyed from this book is like the commentary it has on how things affect you, and how you evolve as a person, and how you can find things out from things you love. There was very much like a line of how, I don't know how to say it without spoiling things, but like there's a line of seeing how people have found out who they are through the RPG, the TTRPG that they have been playing. And I feel as if like it's not spoken about a lot, but a lot of the time when we have things like this, it is very, very easy for us to forget that like we are shaped by the things that we consume and we enjoy, and we find ourselves more drawn to the things that we find ourselves in. And it was a really, really interesting commentary on that, and I really, really loved how it was done, and that the art is stunning, and it's just such a good series. I really recommend it if you're into graphic novels and if you like any form of TTRPG. The next book that I'm going to talk about is This Is How You Lose the Time War. I really enjoyed this book. I do sometimes still find my mind wandering to these characters, which I didn't expect. I got it from Meg from Christmas last year, in 2022, and then it went viral on Twitter and everywhere, and I was like, maybe I should read it, and I read it, and it was incredible, and it really surprised me just how simple it was without being simple, and how intricate it was. Like, I don't want to explain things. I think you need to go into this book blind, but this book was both like unbelievably beautiful, so simple but so complex. Like, it has so many different ways around it, and it was a delight to read, and I'm really, really glad I got to. I might reread it again just to see like what it was that I can't put my finger on. I don't know. I should read it again though. And my last book is The Mighty Nine Origins, Jester Lavore. So this was kind of, I was thinking about it, and I didn't know if I wanted to put this on because I've consumed so much Critical Role things that I love everything about all of Critical Role. So I thought that this was a bit of a cop-out. But then the more I thought about it, the more I remembered how beautiful the art is and how amazing the story was, and how we got to see Jester as a child, and we got to be able to feel that world again. And I feel like the graphic novel was a fantastic way for us to see her backstory, and I think Laura Bailey does an incredible way of having a roleplay character who isn't tragic. I know that Jem spoke about this on their last podcast on Barely Adulting, where you tend to have a lot of characters who have a bit of a tragic backstory, and Laura Bailey's Jester does not have that. She has a very, very like fun, happy lifestyle, and it's great. And she and Travis had talked about it because he plays a very, very like fun character who's dumb, and they said that it was very, very fun to kind of have a character who had no inhibitions, who had no restraint, and that was why he played Grog and she played Jester, and it was a very different way of having no inhibitions and no like boundaries. But it was a really, really good acting choice for them because obviously they are voice actors, and I feel like to see Jester's backstory, we get to see where the mischief comes from and the chaos comes from, and I think it was a really beautiful way of seeing that. So we've talked about the good, let's talk about the bad. So this is not my lowest ratings, this is not the worst of the worst. This is books that some of them are going to be the worst of the worst for myself personally. If you don't like these, if you like these books and I don't like them, please don't take offense. I do not mind if you like them. Like, the whole reason that we are different in the world is because we don't like the same things. It's great. It's the best part of being human. So don't tap me in the comments. I'm not coming for you personally. If you like these books, I'm really, really happy that you found something that I didn't in these books, and that's 100% fine. That's the point. But these are my most disappointing, so it isn't that they are necessarily going to be books that I don't like, because I didn't have enough for the list. If it was just my lowest books, I did not have enough in this to make a list. So this is going to be things that I do think I've been disappointed in when I've read it this year, and we'll go from there. So the first one I want to talk about is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I read this in hopes that I wanted to buy the Fairy Loot edition, the new one. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't remember what this book was so boring to me. My mind kept wandering when I was watching it, when I was reading it. It felt very same old for all of the other YA fantasy books. There was something off about this book. I don't know what it was. I don't know what exactly. I can't give you a point. But the issue was, I think one of the main issues was every time I picked this book up to read it, my mind wandered. And if you can't keep me in a book for even 5 minutes, that's not great. The next book I want to talk about isn't a book that I hated. It is a book that I rated 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, but there was an aspect to this book that I really didn't like. And that is Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail by Ashley Herring Blake. I love this book. I've got the third book ready to go for when I want to read it. I adore this series. Delilah Green Doesn't Care. Fantastic. I'm really excited for the next one. But there was the way something was handled in this that was a trigger to me. And I'd prep myself to kind of be okay with something, in the way that I was like, okay, cool, this is going to be fine. And then the way that the subject matter was handled was not okay. And it really annoyed me. I was so annoyed. I was so upset. And I just think if you're going to deal with really hard subject matter, handle it properly and remember that people have gone through things that they may have been like traumatized by, because the way that they dealt with this one thing that I don't want to talk about, because if you want to know, give me a message. But a lot of people, it won't trigger them, but it really triggered me. And I don't get triggered very often, but the way that this was done and the way that this was handled, I did think was really disappointing, and it was really shock value, which I didn't appreciate and I did not like, and I wasn't happy about. I wasn't. So I'm still going to read the rest of the books that Ashley Herring Blake comes out with, because it's a sapphic romance. I really enjoy those. There is something about this one that I wasn't 100% about. The next one I want to talk about is my reread of the Lawton Crepsley series by Darren Chan. This one's really sad to talk about, but I kind of knew going into it that I probably wasn't going to love this series as much as I used to. I was a like diehard fan of Darren Chan when I was younger, and I tried to read his zombie books a while back and I couldn't get through them, which was really sad. But I knew going back into these I probably wouldn't love them as much, and I didn't, and that is absolutely fine. I'm still going to continue to keep the books. I'm probably not going to read them again, but I know that this man held a very, very, very special place in my heart for many reasons, and just because I don't like them now, because I've grown a little bit older and his writing isn't for me anymore, doesn't mean that it doesn't hold that special place in my heart anymore. The next book I want to talk about is Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. So I got recommended to read this for a random like romance vlog I did. So it was very different romances to like I found I had a lot of different romances that didn't kind of fit any like box, and I was like, okay, cool, I will read them for a vlog. So I did, and I got recommended this one, and I got told it was a dark romance, and I'd read the synopsis, but my brain had thought it's not going to be as dark as, and not even as the synopsis, I just didn't think it would be super, super dark, and that's on me. Like that was not correct. And the way this book worked, it was super dark, and it was a bit too dark for me. Does that make it a bad book? Absolutely not. It just makes it a book that's not for me. The next book I want to talk about was the first book I read this year, which was Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. I almost threw this book. There was a lot that went into this book, and I'm not going to lie, I don't remember a lot of it because I have permanently got it out of my brain. But there was so much wrong with this book that I don't really want to start getting into it, because, yeah. This wasn't for me. I'm glad that some people still really enjoy it. I know a lot of people will still continue to read Leigh Bardugo. I can't say that I will or won't. I don't know yet. I know Becca's sworn off them, but this was definitely a disappointment. This was a major disappointment for me. And it's really sad because I had previously loved a lot of Leigh Bardugo's work. But what are you going to do? The next book that I want to talk about is All the Feels by Olivia Dade. Now, I love this book after I read a short story on her website. So there is a certain thing that is discussed about this book many a time. Something that is said over and over and over and over again. And the author didn't deliver. And I would not have cared that much if they had not made it a big thing, but they'd made it a big thing, and then it wasn't in the book, so I was raging. And then we found the short story on her website, and it was like, okay, we have a short story, we have the thing, that's fine. So this would have been rated lower had they not done the short story, which I was very, very happy about, which is silly because it is such a minute thing. But I was really disappointed when it wasn't in the book. Like, here's the thing. If you're going to make such a big thing about it, I remember ages ago when Matt Smith was leaving as the Doctor, and they were trying to find someone, but they were about to announce someone as the new Doctor. One of my friends turned around and said, I really hope he's Ginger. And I was like, why? And she was like, because they've made it such a big running joke of still not Ginger. Like, a few of them had said it. And it was like, it would have been interesting to see a Ginger Doctor. And I do appreciate that. And I think that's one of the reasons I didn't. It was like, just if you're going to make it a big thing, put it in the text, or put it in. It's Chekhov's gun. It's Chekhov's gun, essentially. The next book I was a little bit disappointed in was Set the Record Straight by Hannah Bonham Young. This is a Christmas sapphic romance. It was a novella, and that, again, my own fault. I was a bit disappointed because it felt as if everything went far too fast. It was like everything went up from like 0 to 100 within like 4 hours, and it was like, I don't really like that. I feel as if she'd taken the time to bulk the story out and have it a bit more slow burn, I would have really appreciated that. It was okay, but it was a little bit disappointing. The next book that I was a little bit disappointed at was A Holly Jolly Ever After by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. I adored Merry Little Meet Cute last year. It was phenomenal. And A Holly Jolly Ever After was one of my, like, I was so excited for this. And the pacing felt weird. There was a trope in this that I really didn't like. And I feel as if it wasn't handled right. There was a specific thing in this book that just did not stick with me, and it was disappointing. I still really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, but there was a lot missing from it because of how they did this trope and how this trope was handled. And I feel like they're going to get a lot of people who are feeling very similar to I am. The next book was an ARC I got from NetGalley, and it was Love Quest by Camilla Ilsley. I was so excited for this. I thought Mummy Return, like the Mummy films, the like Indiana Jones meets rom-com, fantastic. Sign me up. And what I got was a load of misogyny. I got a character, like I got a rivals or enemies to lovers. But the man, the only reason he didn't like her was because she was a woman. No. Absolutely not. Get out of here. Like, I don't want that. Your characters have to be likeable enough that I want to continue reading the story, and I did not want to continue reading about this really misogynistic man who just put the love interest down because of her being a woman. No. And the final one, this is, again, one that I don't really want to put in here, but I couldn't think of 10. Like I said, this has been a really, really difficult list of books to talk about because I don't feel as if I've had that many disappointing reads this year. There have been books that have had disappointing things in them, but I've not been disappointed in them completely, which is why you've got the likes of Astra Parker, you've got Holly Jolly Ever After, you've got All the Feels. Like, some of these are books that I really enjoyed, but there's just something that lacked in them. And this was one of them, and it is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I really enjoyed this book. I did really enjoyed it. But I feel as if there was something missing, and I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I would read it again. I might reread it. But there was something about it that I don't know if I could tell you now, so long after I've read it, what it is that was missing. But there was something missing. And that is my video. So thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments if you agree or if you disagree. We can have a healthy conversation about that in the comments. Don't feel as if you have to shy away from it if you disagree with what I say. I totally understand. We are all different, and I appreciate that. But apart from that, I don't think I have anything else to say, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye guys.